Hey folks, it's Sam, and I'm here on Monday, January 8th at 1 p.m. talking about the new moon in Sagittarius, which will be happening on January 11th, 2024. And it's a new cycle of hope and purpose, which is the nature of Sagittarius. It's going to be in Purva Ashada Nakshatra, which is ruled by the god Apis, which is the god of the ocean, of devotion. And so it's a new cycle, and we can see some of these indicators. Sagittarius is also related to things like higher truth, but also things like social truth and justice, like the justice system, things of that nature. We can see these things are already teed up for the next month or so, as we even see in situations around the world and whatnot. So we're going to be talking about this today. And also, I am letting people know, of course, as it is the beginning of 2024, I do have a free forecast. You see 2024 Vedic.astrology.com. You can go there, that website, and download this free 2024 forecast. And you also get the video, almost an hour-long video where I go over the 11 most important shifts. And I also talk about how it's going to impact you based on where Jupiter is moving, because Jupiter is moving into Taurus later in the year, and it's going to affect each of the 12 signs differently. So you want to check that out, 2024 Vedicastrology.com. So with this new moon in Sagittarius, again, the new moon comes together, and it's also according to the ancient Vedic people from the Vedas, the people of India who wrote all of this amazing knowledge and who gave it to us, this new moon after the solstice is the beginning of the new year, actually. It's the beginning of the new year because the sun just started moving north on the solstice, and then the sun and moon come together, starting a new cycle. So to them, the sun and moon coming together was the beginning of a cycle. And of course, the sun moving north was the beginning of the new cycle as well. So this was the day that started the new year. Also the new month, because their months are soli lunar months, a month when sun and moon come together. That's a 30-day month. That's a 30-day lunation cycle, okay? And so there are usually 12 of them per year. You can do the math. 30 days divided by 365 days in the year, you have usually 12 lunation cycles per year, right? And so the lunation cycle that started after the solstice was when they started the new year, that month, that season. So if you're really looking for a sensible new year day, this is actually it, because the sun started moving forward. Started moving forward. If you're in the northern hemisphere, there's more light coming. So there's being in alignment with more light, rebirth of the sun. So instead of the birth of the sun being the birth of Jesus Christ in Christianity, it's actually the birth of the sun in the sky. And then the sun and moon come together, which is like the sperm meeting the egg, starting a new cycle. And, oh, by the way, look at the date, January 11th, 1/11, 1/11. It's a portal. It's a portal, 1/11, 111. Awesome. So we love our portals around here, don't we? We don't minimize the portals. We love the portals. Anything that gets us paying attention, we like. So this is a big day in that context. Really what you would call sort of like the beginning of the new year, of the cosmic new year. So, and it's in the sign of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and it's Jupiter who is expressing his masculine nature, that masculine side of actively pursuing higher philosophical wisdom, right? Higher philosophical wisdom, greater purpose and meaning. That's what gives us purpose and meaning. What's the meaning? What's the purpose of our life on earth? And we find those things in the great teachings of the great gurus and masters. And that's what Jupiter is. That's what guru is. Guru is not just a teacher like we teach English or something. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's not just mundane teachings. Guru means the weighty teachings. In fact, the word guru actually means heavy. The heavy weight, the weighty teachings that allow us to sink deeper into reality. And this is really what dharma is. Dharma isn't just the sort of hijacked ideas that we see. Dharma is one of those Sanskrit terms that has been a little bit misunderstood. It's, turned into something that's like, my dharma or my purpose. That's called swadharma, your personal dharma, which is the personal things that you do to align with truth. But dharma is the truth part, not the swa part, not the you part, but the truth part. And so aligning with dharma just means that truth of existence, which is that you are this spiritual being having a human experience based on your karma. So karma and dharma work together. And so Jupiter is the guru that brings us the dharma. And this is a lot of these things revolve around Sagittarius and Jupiter, and also Pisces, the other sign ruled by Jupiter. And as you can see, we have Rahu, the north node, up here in the other sign ruled by Jupiter. And we have all these planets down here in Jupiter's sign of Sagittarius. So there's a lot of Jupiterian energy. Now, in fact, even Jupiter is up here aspecting Mars and those other planets, all those planets in Sagittarius. So this concept of dharma, which is literally the truth of existence, and the teachings that teach dharma, that don't just teach 2 + 2 = 4. I mean, that's factual, but it's not dharma. Dharma is your spiritual being who is incarnated based on karma, and your true nature is not just this body and these emotions. Your true nature is the transcendent being within. That's your true nature. So that level of dharma is very active right now if you choose to be embracing it, right? And now Jupiter has also moved forward in the sky. He's moving forward. So that level of dharma is even more prominent as we're moving forward in our life now. So these qualities of Sagittarius and being very actively pursuing truth, dharma, and wisdom is what this new moon is about. That's what this new moon in Sagittarius promises. And like I say, it's taking place, it's the new moon after the solstice. So it's a new beginning even of the year. Again, we just had the new year based on the Gregorian calendar date, which is not really coordinated with anything cosmic. It's roughly correlated to general 30-day segments each year. This is, and the beginning of the 30-day segment after the solstice is what we call the new year. Again, it's kind of a hodgepodge of concepts. But this isn't a hodgepodge of concepts. It's all the concepts come together. And so, and we got the portal, 111. Never forget that. Numerology portal. And so this is also happening in the nakshatra of Purva Ashada. So the nakshatras are the sections of sky. Again, in all the Vedic texts, they clearly delineated that the sky is actually pinned to nakshatras, which are the 27 portions of sky. And yes, there's an interstitial 28th, but it's 27 segregated portions of sky that integrate as one chakra called the Nirayana chakra, which is the circle without the ayana or the solstice portion added. And that Nirayana chakra starts on Ashwini Nakshatra, which is up here. And then the zodiac sign of Aries aligns with it. And this is how the zodiac and nakshatra wheels align. The nakshatras are foundational. Then the zodiac signs are on top of the nakshatras. So by the time you get to this portion of the sky, you have Purva Ashada Nakshatra, and it's ruled by the god Apas. And in fact, in the Vedas, in the Vedanga Jyotisha, they call the nakshatras by the names of the deities. They're interrelated. They're literally the same. They often call this section of the sky Up or Apas. And so it's literally means the ocean or the sacred water. So this nakshatra of Apas or Porva Ashada, which rules the sacred water, is connected to the divinity, the divine love in our heart. And that section of the Sagittarius sign related to hope and purpose. So it's the hope and purpose that comes from devotion. Devotion to the heart. Not the emotions, the devotion. We're all emotional. That's easy. Every animal is emotional. They're also devotional. They're devoted to their children, just like human beings. We're not that different. We're devoted to things that are deeper, but we mostly live on the surface of the emotions. So again, this is the same concept of guru and teacher, and Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, as I said, brings us the teachings that take us deeper into the waters of devotion, into the heart. So through the sign of Sagittarius, there are 3 nakshatras. The first is Mula, which comes right after Scorpio. You see Mercury is now in Mula, very early degrees, and so is Mars. Mula means root, and it's to pull out by the root, to uproot and plant seeds. That's the first section of Sagittarius, where we pull out the roots, mostly the roots of our imagined fears and worries that come over from Scorpio. You see Venus is still in Scorpio. So in our relationships with others and whatnot, there's still a sort of triggered intensity, because Venus is about our agreements, the people that we want to make us happy. It's in Scorpio, which has a certain amount of triggering and imagined fears and stress about things we can't control, which is the nature of the world. So in order to overcome that, this compels us to deeper devotion. But first we need to pull out by the roots all of that fear, and then plant seeds of wisdom, wise seeds from Guru's seeds of truth. But then we need to water those seeds with the devotion in Purva Ashada Nakshatra. So this is how the nakshatras of Sagittarius build. First, we pull out by the roots and plant seeds. We pull out the stress and fear and ignorance and the dark imaginings of Scorpio. Again, that's not all that's happening with Scorpio. Scorpio leads to deeper devotion and emotional courage to face those things. But then we just hang out in a space that's triggered. No, it moves into the next sign, which is now we need to pull out all that stress and fear and worry, plant new seeds, Guru's grace, Guru's wisdom, dharma, the truth, instead of holding on to that fearful illusion we plant those seeds of dharmic truth and wisdom in Sagittarius after we pull out by the roots. But then we need to water those seeds and nurture those teachings with love and devotion. And that's what this nakshatra is about, Purva Ashada, is the love and devotion that we give to those teachings. And how love and devotion in general is the highest teaching. It's both. Because again, people love their pets. They love their children. And look at what happens with the things we love. They're sources of great devotion and great wisdom. Instead of emotions, there's devotion. And how much do we learn about ourselves based on the things that we're devoted to? So that's the section of Sagittarius that's related to love and devotion, watering those seeds in Purva Ashada. Then the next nakshatra, Uttara Ashada, is where it goes into Capricorn. That's in between Sagittarius and Capricorn. Now it's not just enough to water those seeds. Now we need to concentrate, commit, work hard to develop those things, which is what Capricorn is about. But this new moon is happening in the nakshatra of Porva Ashada, which is the one that comes after we plant the seeds, and there's still a couple planets in that seed planting, uprooting phase. That's why we still feel a lot of the intensity of Sagittarius and a lot of uprooting going on. And again, at the beginning, I used the example of like our legal system and whatnot. Look at what's happening politically and legally right now, particularly in the courts and our former president and all of these things getting contended with. Are we going to correct the wrongs of the past? Do the courts have the courage to do what is right and righteous? Again, this is all very Sagittarius stuff, uprooting dark seeds that have been planted. Scorpio energy. So this is why there's a lot of this mula uprooting and planting of seeds. We're uprooting and planting seeds right now in our legal system, regardless of what they decide to do in the Supreme Court, particularly about the previous president. It's going to set a precedent. We're going to be planting seeds one way or another. And it's intense. It's an intense weeding of the garden that's also happening. And by the way, that's also a big part of the Porva Ashada. After we plant those seeds, one of the aspects of Porva Ashada as well is using discrimination. One of the symbols is a winnowing basket where we separate the wheat from the chaff. And this has to do with our teachings, because it's very easy to be devoted, but we can be devoted to bad teachings as well as good teachings, teachings that aren't really worth it. We can just blindly believe in things. Blind faith is the destructive possibility of Purva Ashada Nakshatra. This is why Sagittarius is related to religion, and there's a lot of good that comes from religion and belief and faith. But look at all the things, look at all the death and destruction and mayhem that have come from blind faith and adherence to dogma. That's the negative quality of Sagittarius, and typified by Purva Ashada Nakshatra. And just, well, I believe it and that's it. I remember the bumper sticker a long time ago. God said it, I believe it, and that settles it. Okay, well, there's a lot of power in having so much certainty, but we can take that slogan to mean anything. We can find passages in any holy book that says, okay, so that means kill everybody you don't agree with or something. So these are also big things that are happening now. And in addition, you know, we still have Rahu is now firmly in Pisces, where it's this other aspect of Jupiter, this devotional aspect of trying to unite and feel that unity consciousness with everything. So there's a lot of Jupiter energy right now where we're looking at what's next, what's giving us hope. Are we willing to have our hopes and beliefs shattered? Again, we have this war in the Middle East, or this whole thing happening in Israel and Gaza. Again, it's very terrible situation, polarized, everybody, you know, fired up and disgusted and angry. But at the same time, we can if we don't understand history very well, polarize it, lose our discrimination because we see so much horror. There's so much going on. And so this is a backdrop for this. But again, on a more personal level, this is a time with all this Jupiter energy, with Jupiter moving forward, Jupiter aspecting, where there's also enormous possibility for you to really connect with the highest teachings. And again, like I said, it's a lot of Guru's grace and Guru's energy now. And again, Guru means heavy. And it's that heaviness that sinks to the bottom of the heart into that devotion. This is why Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, because Cancer is the sign of the heart. It's ruled by the moon, and it means that at the bottom of our emotional possibilities and potential, we need to be driven by the heart. We need to be motivated to follow the heart, not just our and the deepest levels of the heart, not just the emotions on the surface. And we need to use discrimination and not just follow blindly. We need to be willing to uproot those teachings that don't work anymore, that stuff that isn't taking us where we want to go, and be able to look back and go, okay, I believed this before, I was devoted to this before, but how did that really work for me? How did it really work to believe that this was the answer? Is it really in the highest good that this is what we believe collectively, or whatever it might be in your personal life, in your collective life? And so the willingness to pull out by the roots and also do new things, to apply those teachings with this Mars in Sagittarius, and then Mars is going to go into Capricorn. This is a great time for new habits and routines, particularly around spiritual practices and yoga and all of that. Now is a time to really do this stuff. It really is, until the middle of March, especially as Mars moves through Sagittarius and then Capricorn. It's time to really bring out this capacity for discipline, and to put into practice what you know to be true, not just believe it in the abstract, but to put it into practice and sacrifice and be disciplined. That's the Mars energy. While we're doing this, again, we also have to let go of the difficulty of Mars, which is to hang on to things and be stuck in our resentments and things like that, particularly as Mars moves forward into February and whatnot and goes into Capricorn. We can be driven by a lot of resentment. So now is a time to be focused on what's possible for you if you would just put into practice what you know to be true, rather than just believe something and be comforted by the beliefs. Put them into practice as well. So, as I say, I hope this was helpful for you. And again, check out the 2024 Vedic Astrology forecast, where you can learn about your sign and how Jupiter is going to be affecting you in 2024, as well as get the 11 important shifts. So I hope this was helpful for you today. Go to 2024vedicastrology.com to download the 11 most important shifts in 2024. Don't be blindsided by the upcoming eclipses, retrogrades. You can get the free forecast, which is both the PDF download as well as the free video report. And again, this free report will allow you to discover important shifts for your sign, how to align with higher wisdom and purpose and hope in 2024 as Jupiter shifts and moves into Taurus. Also, different placements such as exalted Mars at the beginning of the year, debilitated Mars at the end of the year, the big 1-2 punch at the beginning of this year, when and how communication problems will be occurring throughout the year with the Mercury retrograde cycles, all kinds of other things that you want to understand. This is a free PDF download and then also a free web class. So go ahead, go to 2024vedicastrology.com and download that now. For a limited time, I'm offering 10 hours of masterclasses, Yoga and Vedic Astrology, Quantum Vedic Astrology, and Spiritual Astrology Masterclass. These are 3 great courses that will really help you a lot. Now, in case you don't know who I am, I taught the Astroved certification course, Dattatreya Shiva Baba, in 2010. Ravi Shankar published my book in 2018. I've been around for decades. I've been teaching these great classes, and if you go to VedicAstrologyEssentials.com, you can get this 90% off discount of these 3 great classes, more than 10 hours, guaranteed value. You can check this out. These 3 classes will give you all the necessary tools to begin to learn Vedic astrology. Please find me on YouTube at Sam Jeppy, Vedic Astrology Teacher. On there since 2007, thousands of hours of classes. Also on Facebook at Astrology Teacher, tons of articles updated regularly, and I'm on Instagram at Vedic Astrology 108, ongoing updates and interaction.